going to be talking today about some exciting developments in the field of consciousness, the understanding of consciousness, higher states of consciousness, and the application of consciousness-based technologies to prevent violence, terrorism, crime, even stop open warfare in war-torn areas, based on extensive published scientific research. I'm going to be talking about the foundations of human consciousness, what it is, where consciousness comes from, essentially how it works. But to do so very efficiently, I'd like to start by taking a few minutes to summarize the modern scientific understanding of the physical universe in which we live, particularly the understanding of the laws of nature and the origin of the universe as understood by unified quantum field theories of modern theoretical physics. So I'm going to try to summarize in a single slide 300 years of modern scientific research into the nature of physical reality. This chart shows the structure of the universe as it is now understood by physics. And even if you can't see all the words in this chart that clearly, the structure of the chart, I hope, is clear. The chart shows at its foundation the discovery of the unified field, or superstring field in the language of modern science, and emerging from that unified foundation, the diversified structure of the laws of nature governing the diversified universe. At fundamental levels, like the atomic nucleus, more superficial levels, like the atoms and molecules, and then the surface level of classical physics, macroscopic objects, planets, galaxies, and the universe as a whole. What modern science has done over the past primarily quarter century has systematically probed deeper levels of nature's functioning, from the superficial, classical, macroscopic world to the molecular world, and the atomic world, and the world of the nucleus, and then using particle accelerators probing deep within the nucleus to the level of quarks and leptons, and then, as this chart shows, grand unification, where two of the four forces of nature, the electromagnetic force and the radioactive force, which are superficially diverse, become fundamentally unified at the electroweak scale, 100 times smaller than the atomic nucleus. Nature presents a very different appearance. Surface diversity, separate radioactive and electromagnetic forces, become fundamental unity at the so-called electroweak level, for which the Nobel Prize was awarded twice to the theorists who proposed it and to the experimentalists who subsequently confirmed it. After that, as we move towards the bottom of this chart, grand unified field theories of the strong, weak, and electromagnetic forces on the left. You can see perhaps the boxes or forces merging together deeper and deeper in this chart. And just before the bottom of this chart, we see grand unification uniting three of the four forces at a scale that is 10 million times smaller than the electroweak unified level, which means 1,000 million times smaller than the nuclear radius. Finally, at the bottom of the chart, we see what is called the superunification of all four forces of nature, including gravity, and as a bonus, all the particles of nature as well, the electrons and quarks that comprise the nucleus and the atom, all matter and all forces united in one single universal field, a field of abstract intelligence, a non-material field. And the self-interaction of this field with itself, there's nothing else down there for it to interact with, but the dynamical self-interaction of this fundamental field at the foundation of the universe draws out of itself the increasingly diversified structure of the laws of nature governing the vast universe. So, in a nutshell, science has discovered that the world is superficially complex, but fundamentally simple. Or we could say superficially diverse, but fundamentally unified. So this unified field is a single universal fountainhead of all the laws of nature governing the universe. Now, meditation, properly understood, is a technique of turning the attention within to experience, as this chart shows on the right-hand side, to experience and explore deeper levels of mind, deeper levels of human intelligence, finer levels of thought. And these more refined, quiet levels of thought, finer levels of human intelligence correspond to the direct experience of finer levels of intelligence in nature. So in the so-called inward stroke or inward dive of the meditation process to experience finer levels of thought, we're really directly fathoming, if you wish, deeper levels of natural law, finer levels of nature. And this inward march of the mind during this meditative process culminates in the direct experience of this unified field at the basis of mind and matter. So human awareness comes to rest in this extremely silent, maximally expanded state of human comprehension, and we'll talk about the very extraordinary things that are taking place in the brain that support this fundamental experience. But subjectively, the experience is one of expanding comprehension, expanded awareness, in which ultimately individual consciousness becomes universal. Abstract, universal consciousness, the experience of a field of pure being, pure existence. That field of pure existence that has now been glimpsed by these latest discoveries of modern science and found to be at the basis of everything in nature. Now, when we go back and look for a moment at this chart again, we can understand this, I think, a little more easily when we realize that the physical universe, shown on the left of this chart, is not a physical universe at all. The universe appears physical at the macroscopic level of rocks and objects, but the moment you get to the molecular level, let alone the atomic and nuclear and subnuclear, anything that you could conceivably call material about an object simply disappears. The world of quantum mechanics is not just a smaller world than the world of billiard balls. It is a fundamentally different world with different laws, a different logic, requiring its own language, its own mathematics. Atoms are not solar systems in miniature, which we might have been taught in high school, that we have the nucleus like the sun in the middle, and we have electrons orbiting like planets. That model simply doesn't work. It hasn't worked for a century. It was replaced by quantum mechanics of atoms, which replaces the concept, say, of an electron, a classical particle, with what's called a quantum mechanical wave function. And when you get right down to it, this wave function, formally a vector in an infinite dimensional Hilbert space, is not an object. It's not a material particle. It's a conceptual reality. And the quantum world of the atom and subatomic particles is a wholly conceptual world. And the deeper you go into the structure of the universe, the more ethereal it becomes. And ultimately, at the unified field level, at the foundation of the physical universe, it is an entirely non-material world of pure, self-aware, self-interacting consciousness.